Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I want to talk about the episode 21 trailer. And in that trailer, we do see the train. And so I want to talk about what this train is for. I want to talk about all the details that we were given by Lance in episode 20, and then discuss what we saw in the trailer and stuff like that, and see if there are any connections here with the Civic Republic. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be aware this video will contain spoilers for episode 20. I'm not going to talk about anything major, but there might be some stuff in here. So anyways, yeah, just be aware for that. Also, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But yeah, to discuss this whole thing here. So at the end of episode 20, and I'm going to say it's a little interesting that they teased a lot of this at the end there, especially going into 21 with that trailer, because there's so much there. But episode 20, I've had this feeling since watching it, like it gave us so much stuff. Like it gave away a lot of stuff with where they're being taken to, this and that. But I think it's because the episode is titled What's Been Lost. But no, the episode really, honestly, focused on some stuff with Eugene and Yumiko, and then introduced, I guess, Lance's death. And really, that was basically the whole thing here, was Lance died. And then the very last scene, we finally see where our characters were being taken to, right? So that was basically it. Our characters were knocked out, and then I guess they wake up in this new place here. And that's why a lot of focus here is on the episode 21 trailer. So in the episode 21 trailer, we see our characters at this new camp here. They're forced to do some physical labor. I'm not entirely sure the reasonings for that and why, and we're going to discuss some of that because there's some things that are happening here that don't really make much sense. Like, I doubt this group is the group that is just gathering resources for the Commonwealth because, I mean, first of all, there's been hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone missing over the years from the Commonwealth, and in this location, we have like, what, 30, 40 people or 20 to 30 people. But going back to the train, we did learn in episode 20 that there was a supply train. Like Lance actually says that there was a supply train there, and the Commonwealth's plan with this was to have this train connect communities from here all the way to the sea, sort of thing. And so this is hinting at a few things already. I mean, one, in the comics, Eugene actually works to build these train tracks and help fortify them to help build this alliance between the East and the West. And so that right there, we don't know anything about. Like, we don't know what big community they formed an alliance with. Like, we have no idea. That was just one line of dialogue or whatever said in the very final issue there. I don't know what community was East or West. Like, I don't know if the Commonwealth was considered East and then there was a West community. I'm not entirely sure. But again, they didn't get into that at all. Like, that was just some setup there, I guess, in case Robert Kirkman wants to somehow do like a Walking Dead, I guess, 2 kind of thing, right? Which I imagine he's going to do. I just think he's going to take some time off here. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, he starts to do more Walking Dead stories. So yeah, we have no idea what this is here, but that's essentially the reasoning for the tracks here, right? Is Eugene builds the tracks, and it helps build that alliance there between communities. And here on the show, the tracks are already working, you know, somewhat. I don't know the full extent of it. This could still be a big story for Eugene if they were to do a big time jump. He could still work on you know, forming that alliance between like major communities here. And so that's why you do got to wonder if that major community on the show's version here anyways is the Civic Republic, and if that is what we're seeing here, right? Because we know that's the thing in the comic. There's this major community that somehow the Commonwealth forms an alliance with. As of now, I guess that technically would be an alliance they do have, but I wonder if it's going to be more on an equal grounds after this big story happens here with Rick Grimes and whatnot, because people are always theorizing that the Commonwealth versus the Civic Republic, and I think, first of all, the Civic Republic would just win. That doesn't mean there wouldn't be a really strong fight and that there would be, you know, as long as you're very strategic, I think you could win a fight like that, potentially, right? I mean, if you look at the Alexandrians versus the Saviors, they just gained more alliances, and I think you could do that with the Civic Republic if you could sort of win some people over from there. I think that's where you could win. So that's why I'm sort of thinking that with these train tracks here, that has to be a connection. I mean, if you just think of the obvious, like just think of the obvious storyline here. The Commonwealth is this huge entity. I know it doesn't look like it on the show, but they're very, very massive. They have 50,000 people in this place. You know, it's spread out throughout a lot of the United States. And so you have this working supply train going from community to community, you know, bringing resources or whatever. Like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, how does the Civic Republic not know that this place exists? Especially when they have helicopters that fly around all the time, right? Like, when I look at that, I'm like, they're clearly aware. Like, they are definitely very much aware. And considering the power of the Commonwealth, there has likely been a meeting. Like, I'm sure they've met. I'm sure there's an alliance there. I'm sure there's some sort of deal that has been worked out. Just like, you know, the campus colony and whatnot. I'm sure there is a deal there worked out with the Civic Republic. It would just be so crazy for that not to be the case, right? And so now going back to what we saw in the episode 21 trailer, we see this train going to this certain place. Now, what they actually talk about in episode 20 was that this train, like the train tracks sort of, like if you follow the tracks, you know, it forks this way or that way, but eventually you just follow it, like it's gonna go to this location here. And so Daryl and Carol, I believe, like they know where this train is. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they jump on the train. I think that'd be so cool. I hope so. Honestly, that'd just be so epic. But this train is going all the way to where Negan, Ezekiel, and the rest are, right? And so now the question that I have is, I mean, is this all it is? Because the warden says in the trailer that the labor that you do here will be rewarded to really good people. Like, just know that, I mean, I guess I kind of messed that up, but basically good people are going to benefit from your labor here. So is that all this place is just like literally like this one spot here, they're able to gather resources and stuff to deliver to other communities? No, I really don't see it. You just look at this place here. What kind of stuff are they doing here to do that? First of all, you got to teach them how to do these things. Like, I don't see that being a logical scenario here, because the whole point of this was that Pamela Milton wants to get rid of these people. And you got to remember, you go back to the whole Wall of the Lost storyline, like that was introduced in episode 5 or something like that, right, of this season. There's been missing people for years before our group even got there. People have been going missing for a very, very long time now, right? If you actually look at that episode of World Beyond where you do see people, you know, being tested on, there's a lot of people there. And so I imagine that they are actually getting these people from other communities, because it seems like they're actually working on these people quite a bit. With the amount of people that are going missing from the Commonwealth, like that just seems like so much, you know, to have working in this place. I mean, maybe there's multiple camps. I think that is also a very, very high possibility, but it just doesn't make too much sense, because again, like how can they be the ones that are sustaining all of their resources here, right? I just don't get that, because obviously over the years, someone would break out. Like something's going to happen, and literally people have been losing their family members for years. There's been this rebellion forming. I just don't see it working out like this, like just this smoothly, because how long do these people stay here for, and what happens when they're done with them, right? There's just a lot of questions I have here. So that's why I do think the Civic Republic connection here is actually getting stronger and stronger, because there's clearly so much more here, right? Like there's something that we're missing here that I think we could learn a lot more about in episode 21. There's the why are people going here? Where's Tyler Davis? We still have not seen Tyler Davis yet. Like, are we going to get the explanation as to where he went? You know, when it comes to the people at the Commonwealth, just don't need it anymore. I think that they cycle these people out to the Civic Republic. And that's what I was saying. Like, are these people, like, are Negan and Ezekiel, everyone else that's there, really going to be the people that gathers resources for this massive community? No, it's almost like they're being tested to see how hard they can work and just the skills that they have, right? Because obviously there's that whole A and B thing. They're doing something here. Like, they're clearly doing something here, because there's no way this place is just supporting this whole community. Even if there's multiple camps out there, like, you literally, like, that means that the Commonwealth is basically founded on people going missing constantly, which I don't think is necessarily the case. I think there's some people who are gathering resources, who are working, who are actually doing things, but I think there's another reason why this place was so successful, and I think that is the Civic Republic here. Like, when I look at this supply train, I try to look at it like how the Civic Republic would look at it, or even the Commonwealth. Like, basically, a part of that train, there's people on there, which, you know, obviously the Civic Republic would view as supplies, right? Like, they view people as resources. And I guess technically, I think Negan actually said that at one point in the series, but I think a part of the train is that. I think there's something a little bit more cryptic there. And then I think another part of the train is actual resources that are being delivered in return for these people here. And I think that could be something that is revealed here, honestly. Like, that could actually be something that's revealed in this next episode here. I think that maybe if they go to the train, if we actually see the train, I mean, Herschel at some point is taken away from this place. I don't think he's taken away from the Commonwealth. I don't think that's what that scene is. So is he taken away from this camp? Where is he being taken to? So there's a lot of questions that I have here, and I just really come back to the fact that there's been hundreds of people that have gone missing over the years, right? And yet there's really nobody here right now. And you look at the Wall of the Lost storyline, like, there's this whole missing people storyline is something that is big. This is the whole point of the Commonwealth arc. It's this right here. And I think if you're Angela Kang, if you're Scott Gimple or any of the writers, and you're going into this Commonwealth arc and you have the Wall of the Lost storyline, I just think it makes sense that you're like, you know what? I don't know what to do with this Wall of the Lost storyline, but what if we make it like we have to connect somehow the Commonwealth to the Civic Republic So what if we make the Wall of the Lost storyline just what was happening with Jadis and the people going missing before, like Heath and like Rick? Like, what if that's the whole thing here? Like Pamela Milton or the Commonwealth, they give people to the Civic Republic in return for resources, because we saw that in World Beyond. And so the Wall of the Lost is just a wall of pictures of missing people from families that have gone missing for a very long time here. I think it just makes sense. Like, there's a perfect connection to be made there that I just don't see how you can mess that up, really, right? Like, I think when you look at that, it's like, yeah, duh. And I think that's why this storyline is getting bigger and bigger right now. I think it's because our characters were just taken away now. And yeah, so we'll have to see where this goes here. I mean, you could make the argument that maybe we should have gotten this storyline a little bit sooner, since it seems to be the main thing here. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see where this goes. But I'm very confident that this is Civic Republic related. I don't really have any doubts with it. I guess the only doubts I would have is that they're not smart enough to write a story like that. But like, to me, I don't see how not. Like, how can you miss an opportunity like this, right? Because if this is not Civic Republic related, if this is just, to do with the Commonwealth and what they're doing to people, and the show ends and no one finds out Rick's alive or something, and then in the spinoffs next year, Daryl just goes to France for some random reason, which maybe in that spinoff he finds out Rick's alive. And then obviously with the Maggie and Negan show, why do they go to New York? Maybe they're just going just cuz or whatever. It'll be an unrelated reason. And then, I look at all of it and I can't, like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. The Civic Republic and the reveal of Rick's survival and whatnot, the connections here, make everything make sense. You take that out of the picture and you try to explain it otherwise, and it just doesn't make any sense. And yeah. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. It's going to be interesting to see what's actually going to be on these supply trains here. I do hope that the train actually is a big part of episode 21. I think it would suck if it wasn't, but I guess we're going to find out here in a couple more episodes, right? And I can't wait to watch episode 21. Every episode so far has just sort of been building and building. And I do think once we get into episode 22, or I mean, after episode 21, once we watch the trailer for 22, we're going to know a lot more here on where the story is going to be going here. I think in episode 21, we're going to see our characters at this camp. They may escape here in this episode. They might not. I know some characters are going to be going to Alexandria. But yeah, then it's just all about what happens afterwards. Our characters have to somehow go back to Alexandria, not Alexandria, but the Commonwealth, to free everyone. And there's so many shots that are missing, right? Like, I'll have to do a video on it because this video is getting too long. I can't talk about it here. But just think of some shots that we saw in the trailer of Pamela Milton freaking out and screaming. I don't think that's happening in 21. So that's going to be an episode 22 or 23 thing, right? So yeah, I mean, things are going to get really crazy here. Anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.